Hello, grade 10s. I hope you're doing well. So last week you learned how to pick a method in terms of solving systems of equations, linear systems. We've done three ways, right? We did elimination, substitution, and graphing. And last lesson, you learned how to choose the best way, depending on what we're looking at. Today, we're going to look at word problems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a handout. It's going to look like this. I don't know why that's there, but it's going to look like this. It has two word problems. So I'm going to do the first one with you. And then as practice, you're going to do the second one that's about the student council. And what I'll do is I'll post my solutions for that so you can see it. So let's go back to the problem I'm going to do with you. So this problem has two catering companies. We have Nick and Heather, they're getting married in September, and they want to choose from two different companies. So the cost for the food from each company is given by these two linear equations. So Cookies Catering, the total cost is a base price of $500, so that's for the hall rental. And then for every person they invite, it costs $40 for the food. Okay, so this is the base price, this is the rental, and this is the $40 is price per person. Okay, so we can think of this is our starting point, and this is our rate of change. This is our y-intercept, this is our slope. Okay, for Frugal Gourmet, its total cost is a base price of $350, but it charges more per person. So it charges $45 per person. So the idea here is to try to figure out whose price is better for the certain number of people we want to have at the wedding. So the first way we're going to do it is by graphing. And so to do it by graphing, to do it by graphing, we are going to fill in the table of values, okay, for each one. So for Cookies Catering, well, let's start with 0, because that's nice and easy. If it's 0 people, then it's going to be 0 times 40 is 0 plus 500. Now, how do we know what to go up by? We could go up by ones, but that's not going to give us very much information. So if we go over to the graph, notice how it's going up by tens. That gives you a nice hint as to what to go up by here. So I'm going to put N in the first column here and my C in the second column. So if I go up by 10, it's going to be 500 plus 40 times 10. So 40 times 10 is 400. So that's going to be 900 total. Okay, now I'm going to go up by 20. So now my end is now going to be 20. And I'm going to go up by tens because that's nice and easy for me. And I'm going to do the same thing with Frugal so that it's easy to compare. Okay, so if I do 40 times 20 plus 500, 40 times 20 is 800. And then plus 500 is 1300. I'm trying to find my calculator as I'm doing this. Was this really obnoxious of me? I'm sorry. Okay, anyway. So 40 times 20, I think 4 times 2 is 80, with 2 0 is 800, so 800 plus 500 is 1300. Now I'm going to do 30. 3 times 4 is 12, so that's 1200 plus 8 is 1800. No, 1700, Ms. Gilbert. Okay. 4 times 4 is 1600 plus 500 is 2100. At this point, I can see it's going up by 400 each time, correct? So I can just add 400 each time. Okay, there is my table for cookies. So now let's do frugal. I really wish I had my calculator. Here it is. Okay, good. Yeah, now we can do my calculator. So for 0, it's going to be 45 times 0 is 0, plus 350 is 350. Now, 45 times 10, 45 times 10 plus 350 is 800. Okay, so 45 times 20 plus 350, 1250. Now, if you remember again, if you could figure out your first differences, so 800 minus 350, that means it's going to go up by 450 each time. So now, instead of calculating using this, I can just add 450, each time. So that's going to be 1700. 1700 plus 450 is 2150, plus 450 is 2600, plus 450 is 3050. Okay, so now we have our numbers. We are going to then graph them. Okay. So I'm going to graph cookies in blue and then frugal in red. Okay, so if I have 0 and 500, so this is 450, so it's just going to be right above there. At 10, it's 900. At 20, it's 1300, so just kind of under there. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? At 30, it's 1700, so I don't know, here somewhere. At 40, 2100. At 50, it's 2500. And at 60, it's at 2900. 29 would be closer, well, I guess it would be halfway-ish. Okay, and now once you have that, you can use a ruler and join them all together. Okay. And now we're going to do the same for frugal. So 0, 350. So it's going to start lower, right? Because we have 450. So 350, 800, it's going to be lower, so it's going to be like there. 20, it's at 1250. I like to compare, so I know it's going to be lower. 30, it's at 1700. So it's going to be exactly the same there. Notice how these are the same. At 40, it's at 2150. So now, notice how frugal is more than cookies at this point. So at 50, it's 2600, so it's going to be more than this guy. And then at 60, it's at 3050. So Once we have those, we can graph those and plot a line. So our point of intersection is where they crossed. And look, they both have the exact same point at 30 and 1700. So our point of intersection is 30 and 1700. That's where those two companies have the same price for the same number of people. So that's our solution. So now if we go into the back, we're going to solve these systems by the other two methods. So let's first get our equations again. So C is 40n plus 500. So C equals 40n plus 500. And the other one was C equals 45n plus 350. C equals 45n plus 350. So remember substitution, you're going to use a blob. Well, this is kind of set up as a blob because we both have C equals something, C equals something. So don't forget that means C, we can write C to C, which means I can write down my right-hand side of this one equals my right-hand side of this one. And now we can solve for n. So let's take this n to this side because this one's bigger. So let's get rid of the 40n and let's move the 350 to the left. So these will go away and these will go away. Oops, wrong ones. So 500 minus 350 leaves me 150 equals to 45n minus 40n gives me 5n. So to find n in this case, we're going to divide by 5, and 150 divided by 5, always use your calculator if you're not sure, is 30. Okay, and now we can use this to put back into one of our equations to find what C is when n is 30. So that's step 1. Step 2, so let's do C is 40, I'll use my first equation, times 30 plus 500. 40 times 30, I'm sorry, I hope that didn't go blank for you. 40 times 30, 40 times 30 plus 500 is 1700. So my point of intersection then is 30 and 1700. Yes, you should absolutely be getting the same point of intersection, right? Because the solution should be the same no matter what way you do it. So let's finally do it by elimination. This is where we stack them and get rid of one. Plus 500, C equals 45n plus 350. Well, remember when we're eliminating, we need to get the coefficient in front of one of our terms, one of our variables to be the same. And look, these are the same. So if we subtract these, the C's are going to go away. So C minus C is 0. 40 minus 45n is negative 5n. And 500 minus 350 is 150. And now we're going to rearrange this to solve for n. So 5n equals 150 divided by 5. So n equals 30. The video is going to cut off right about now, so I'll continue.